Hello, today we're looking at a multi-circuit functional system which should try to light that bulb right there on behalf of an LDR. A sensor which, when light hits, should turn that bulb off. Now to create this simple but intricate system, we are going to need the various parts, in which I will explain further on later in detail. Our goal is to make this turn off on behalf of this resistor, which, if you can tell, is operational and can be further emphasized should I turn off the lights. Here's how we can achieve this. When hoping to put together your system, you want to make sure that you have these materials, otherwise this will not work. That is 4 jumper cables, 1 LED, 1 LDR, 1 resistor, 1K, and 1K only. The source of power, as well as a battery, 9 volt in this case, and a breadboard. Altogether, this system will make for a photosensitive, LED responsive circuit. In assembly, the very first thing we want to do is take our battery, as well as its adapter, and make sure that we plug it in together and securely as such, because this battery is going to be going into our power source. This power source right here. Simply put it over on the side, and lights will indicate that it's operational. This is where we're going to go ahead and choose the charge for which our circuit system is going to operate on. Secondly, we're going to go ahead and take one of these jumper cables, doesn't matter what color, and what we're going to do is make sure that we plug one end at the 3 volts, or more specifically 3.3 volts output, just as such. We're also going to take a second jumper cable, again doesn't matter what color, so that we can insert it into one of the tabs for a ground output. Once put together, this is what we're looking at. These other ends will be going into our breadboard. In assembling our breadboard, what we're going to do is ensure that it starts at 1 and ends all the way at 60. Once we know the right placement for this board, we can begin to connect our jumper cables. The very first one is going to be our ground cable, which its end is going to go at the very top of the left side, negative. Other is going to be oppositely placed at the plus on the other side, just as such. As we move on, we want to make sure that we take our LED strip. Now, if you notice closely, one side is longer than the other. We want to make sure that we take the shorter side and place that just above the 10th row in the negative side of the breadboard, with its end facing the B column, placed just as such. Additionally, we're going to go ahead and get our LDR, our sensor, just as such, and in this case it doesn't matter which side is longer or not, as they're both the same. Once we have our sensor, we're going to go ahead and place it right at the 28th row, with its other side being placed right in column C. Let me see, 1, 2, 3. When put together, our sensor should look as such. Moving on past that, what we're going to go ahead and do is start to connect 2 other jumper cables into our system so that we can make this light up. We're going to go ahead and take another jumper cable, doesn't matter what color it is, and place it in the same row as our sensor is, which again is row 28. And let me go ahead and fix that really quick. There we go, right over here. Same row and row 28. Okay. other end, it's going to go ahead and go the J right over here at row 10, just as such. Now nothing is happening because we're missing a resistor as well as another jumper cable. This resistor is going to go ahead and be placed at 2 separate points. The very first part of the resistor, which again does not matter as they're both the same size, is going to go in the I column at the 10th row. The I column, the 10th row, with its other end going at the plus on the right side at row 11. There we go. Placed just as such. Now last but not least, we need a source that is going to light the bulb, and that's going to be this final jumper cable, in which we're going to go ahead and place one end at row 9, column D, with its other end finishing over at J, which should be right over here, or not J, my mistake. It should be at H in row 10. Put it all together, and we have our system built. Again, powered by this 9-volt battery on behalf of this power source, so we can make this light. Now, the way in which this sensor is going to work is on behalf of light shining on it, which is going to, in theory, turn off our light bulb. So let's test it out with an external light source, that being my phone. If I were to shine it, the light should turn off, and if I bring it back, it should turn back on. Now it's a little tricky to see, so let me lower the intensity so that I may better show it. Turns off and on. If I were to separate this side from this side, perhaps you could better see the difference. Just as such. As a close-up, we can see that the light bulb is turned off. If I were to cover the sensor with my finger so that no light would hit it, you could see that the light bulb would turn on. If I were to turn off my light source, then you could more vividly see it, as there's nothing to inflict upon it with the sensor.